Hey guys, this is Joseph. So Peter and I had so much to say about this episode that we wound up going for 2 hours, and we're going to split this up into 2 parts. So our discussion of a first part of an episode will be a 2-parter, I guess? Anyway, here it is. As the sun sets on the 3rd season, it's Voyager Please, a hateful voyage through the Delta Quadrant. My name is Joseph.
I'm your co-host, Peter.
We've come to it. We've come to the very end of Season 3 of Star Trek Voyager. It has been quite a journey so far, this year and a half together that we've been doing the show. When did we start Season 3? Feels like forever ago.
I just pulled the stats on this. That was episode 43 for us, Metal Gear Suitor 2, Pipes of the Patriots. That was December 4th, 2018. True classic, yeah.
That was a true classic. That was a great time.
You know, you say that was a great time, but I actually went back and re-listened to that episode. There was a lot of... We shit on that thing pretty hard because you segregated between planet side and ship side.
Yes. I felt that you were going to try and defend it, and I knew that the way to make sure you didn't was to remind you by structuring our episode that way of just how shitty most of it was.
Yeah,
because they sprinkle the seasoning in enough that you don't taste the poop.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, well, let's take all the icing and put it over here, all the poop and put it over here. Now, how's that poop taste, Peter? How's it taste? Does it taste bad? Yeah, it's just like you turned into a hateful monster just in my hands. I loved it. That was probably my proudest moment in terms of like turning you around on something.
You got me in some hot water. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Did I?
We lied on our podcast because 2 episodes ago, which was super boring, sad sack, Starship
a slow invasion of Voyager by a bunch of geriatric people in hobo popats. Yes.
Yeah, invasion of the sad sacks. We called that 2 until Jerry Ryan. But that is not truth. And I sat there last night watching this episode with my wife, who has been waiting for 7 months to get to the point where Jerry Ryan shows up. And there was no Jerry Ryan to be had. And boy, did I have some fucking questions I had to answer about that one. I got grilled over it. She was pissed.
Well, I mean, I feel bad that Casey's gone through this, considering how much assistance she's been to me lately about how to power game going to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter and Universal Studios. Yeah.
She could teach a college course on it.
She really could. She could teach a postgraduate course on power gaming that place.
Anybody ever needs to know about Universal Studios Florida, throw something up in the trauma support group on Facebook, and she'll probably chime in with some sort of an answer.
Casey's got you. But at the same time, I think that it's very much on brand for us that Casey has suffered, the hateful consequence of terrible disappointment. I mean, it's the real trial before the payoff. It's part of what we go through here.
It put me in an interesting position because we watched, 3 or 4 seasons of Next Gen just before the baby came and life happened, and we kind of backed off of that. But, there comes a time in every nerd male's life or nerd's life period where you eventually try to rope your significant other into watching Star Trek. And you have to make decisions like, do I bother with the first season of Next Gen, or do we, try and stay loyal and sit through a bunch of garbage? Ultimately, you're going to have to sit there and give this person a crash course on what the fuck is going on with all these goofy people in pajamas in space. And you have to decide how much is too much and how do you just tell enough to get the point across. So she sat down with me to watch this episode because she has decided she's going to start watching now because she thinks Jerry Ryan's going to be here. And she says, what do I need to know? And that's a very hard question.
Oh, boy.
To ask a Star Trek nerd, what do I need to know about the Borg?
What a perfect time to be asking that question, too. Because, boy, does this episode, it kind of assumes you know what the Borg are. They go through the process of talking about the the opinions that people have of the Borg in universe, and that serves as a sort of backdoor way of introducing them to someone who's not familiar.
Mm-hmm.
But they do not have that moment of, let's break it down. These are the creepy space zombies, hive mind space zombies that are like the arch nemesis of the Star Trek universe.
The ultimate bad guys. And not only just Star Trek, but the Borg. And we've gone down this. We've talked about this already. The Borg were such good bad guys that they transcended Star Trek to become one of the best ultimate all-time sci-fi, if not fantasy, villains out there, period.
Part of the reason they worked is because the Borg were such a departure from the rest of the Star Trek universe. Like the lesson of that episode when Q introduced them to the Borg was that the ideals and approaches of the Federation were simply not going to matter in the face of a force of nature like the Borg. There are some things that cannot be negotiated with. There are some things that you can't talk your way out of. There are some things that you have to confront and deal with surviving. And that's the harsh nature of the universe. It's not all, rainbows and gumdrops and holding hands and singing Kumbaya in the end. That was particularly antithesis to everything that Jean-Luc Picard stood for, which is why it was such a personal antagonist for him. Not just that they represented everything that the antithesis of him, but then, captured him, co-opted him, used him as a weapon. I mean, all that stuff.
The Borg also kind of became this zeitgeist. They came in at the right point, really before the internet and the full invasion of technology, portable technology, personal technology into everyday life. So, they tossed this thing out there that was scary in its own regard. But as we as a society have evolved, and cell phones and iPhones and Androids and all that stuff have become more prevalent, this human machine hybrid, buses and campuses full of people just looking down glued to their screen have become this scary reality. And there's this illusion over in the Borg of like this, people walking, but not really present. And that was a powerful kind of a cautionary tale, I guess, for Star Trek just to land on a blind shot. And we're spending all this time talking about the Borg because they're such a big deal. Arguably the best next-gen movie ever was First Contact, and that was explicitly about the Borg. And that was kind of the last time we had seen the Borg up until Unity a couple episodes ago. And it's just a real head-scratcher how you could have a grand slam of a movie where you just did it right and I feel adequately close that chapter out, and to have the audacity to fucking go back into it the way that they do.
Voyager having encounters with the Borg is entirely appropriate as a premise, and having to deal with getting through a difficult part of their journey as a consequence of that. It's something you have to handle delicately, but it's doable. And there are actually parts of this episode that I think work really well. There's too much of it that doesn't, because they don't know what to do with the Borg to maintain why they're special. And I'm sure we'll get into it. But it is not the Borg that I find the most objectionable part of the episode, but a certain Starfleet captain who, in my opinion, in this episode commits the most egregious, short-sighted, and galaxy imperiling choices I have ever seen. The fact that they have Janeway do what they do in this episode demonstrates how little the writers thought through the consequences of their actions.
Absolutely. Janeway is the trap queen, and she, in this episode, is basically a coke addict who has opened a door and seen an entire room full of cocaine. But instead of cocaine, it is life-threatening bad decisions that there's a very clear guardrail around saying, don't go here. And she just jumps into that pile of coke like Scrooge McDuck and inhales it all. She moves beyond Trap Queen in there. She becomes, I don't know, Trap Empress.
Yes, she ascends into trap godhood. The teaser is actually a perfect example of what's wrong with this episode, which is that it's a bunch of Borg cubes kind of rolling in, and they're doing the normal resistance is futile. You know, we're gonna
Whoa.
assimilate you now.
There's nothing normal about this. Again, we're taking the best Star Trek toy off of the shelf, right? The big baddie, the Borg.
Mm-hmm.
When they start this episode, and I pause, I do my little pause thing, and just right off the bat, it's a little hair goes right up my ass.
Oh no!
You
Not
see
up your ass.
You see the hair up the ass is terrible. You see the Borg cube, which is, and I'm sitting there explaining to my wife like why the cube is a big deal. It's the biggest starship, and it takes dozens, if not hundreds, of regular Federation starships. And one encounter with one of these things forever changed the fate of the Federation and the Alpha Quadrant as a whole for the rest of eternity, and how it's all the result of cues involved. I mean, you really touch a lot of big points. It was such an important episode. You got the Q, you got the Borg. It's all part of the same story.
And the movie that just came out in relative to this episode, months prior.
Yeah.
You had a Federation that had done nothing but prepare themselves to militarily confront another Borg cube, barely able to make it happen.
Yeah.
Like, last second, last ditch fighting at Earth.
Yeah. And that's one cube. And in this scene, you've got 2 cubes. You have never seen this much Borg on the screen at the same time. 2 cubes. That's 2 Death Stars. Mm-hmm. And what happens, man? It's 10 seconds. They start laying out the, we're going to assimilate you. Resistance. Boom, boom. 2 shots. 1 for each of these cubes. 2 cubes blown the fuck up.
So before we even know anything about what's happening in this episode, at all, okay? At all. What we have is the writers going out right in front and saying, yes, this episode is going to be about something so powerful and so next level that they turn the Borg, the most powerful thing in the entirety of the Star Trek universe, into jabronis.
The gold standard.
Get one shot. Yeah, they get one shot. And it's like, what the fuck? Really? Fucking really? Because, I obviously know what's going to happen. You kind of already know what's going to happen. And it's just a unfortunate and tragic reminder that what they're going to have Voyager do is solve this problem, right? They're going to solve the space conundrum of the dudes that can turn the Borgs into chumps.
There's 2 ways to establish someone's a badass. One is to have them prove to you through a series of personal achievements that they are worthy and great. And the other is to find the biggest guy in the room and beat their ass. That's the lazy prison way of doing it. And that's exactly what they did here. And man, I don't know what they were going for. And I really wish that I would have been around to watch this stuff the first time, because maybe 18-year-old me would have felt different about this. But watching it now, I was just like, what the fuck? And my wife's standing there and, she doesn't really understand the gravity of what happened, but it was such a quick exchange before they start rolling credits. I want to say it's like maybe 5 seconds. And Casey's like, so what happens if someone was in the kitchen getting some popcorn on their way back in? I said, I don't know, because if I was in the kitchen getting popcorn and this thing was airing for the first time in 1997, when did this come out?
Yeah, 1997.
May 21st.
May 27th, yeah.
And you told me that there were 2 Borg cubes and they both just got blown up. They both got one-shotted. I wouldn't believe you. And we wouldn't have TiVo back then. There would be no way to prove this. That would be a very bad 5 seconds of TV to miss. Or maybe it would have been a blessing because you wouldn't have seen this nonsense. But that's how they've set the stage. There's something out there that you take one of the best Star Trek Next Gen movies ever and the struggle the Federation face, and now you got something that just pew pew by cubes.
We cut then to the holodeck, because what we have is John Rhys Davies,
Mr. Anmayax himself.
Yes, Miss Gimli himself, Sala from the Indiana Jones. Yes, Professor Arturo from Sliders.
Wow, you knew the name. That was a deep one, Joe.
Fucking Sliders. I love Sliders. Jerry O'Connell.
Mm-hmm. Cue-Ball. Quinn.
Quinn.
Yeah.
God, I remember Professor Arturo because he was obviously the best character on the show. But I desperately remember fucking Sliders. That shit was on Fox.
All I remember about Sliders was there was a rusty gate, and they thought that they didn't get to the right home, and then they left, and they found out that the dad had just WD-40'd it. That's all I remember about that.
Yeah, that was like always the test. Mm-hmm. And then, God, there's a lot of good episodes of that show. I really enjoyed it. But he's a big get. John Rhys Davies is a guy, like even in 1997, he's a that guy, right? It's obviously pre Lord of the Rings where he'd be like really that guy, but he's playing a poorly made up with the world's worst stage facial hair, Leonardo da Vinci, in a holodeck simulation of the captains, where she is living out some kind of weird fantasy where she is Leonardo da Vinci's like co-worker or something, sharing apprentice sharing some workspace as he does like steampunk
roommate
stuff. Yeah.
This isn't just Catherine Janeway's weird fantasy. This is Kate Mulgrew. I read the wiki, and this whole, let's just call it waste of time. This whole waste of screen time that takes up a considerable chunk of this episode. Right in the wake of, this massive feat of Dragon Ball Z proportions, we get dragged into this fucking hollow novel. And I'm going to go ahead on record right now and say I wish this was the weird bodice ripper Duchess romance novel.
This would be way better if this was the continuation of the bodice ripper from season 1 and 2.
But instead, I mean, Kate Mulgrew had this weird Leonardo da Vinci fantasy, and she talked the writers into working this thing, and they decided that this is the right point to put it in the season finale. So there's like,
and they fucking got John Rhys Davies for this. Like, they didn't just shoehorn this in with some fucking dude, some LA actor that got the part. No, they went and got a guy who gets special guest star name checked in the very first shot post credits.
Yeah,
like a guy big enough deal that they have to give him like the special guest star billing.
So she talks the hologram into letting her have some studio space for whatever her new personal project is going to be. Big waste of time. She's in the middle of she's towards the end of the conversation, and they lay one of the famous, "Captain, you're going to want to see this come down here." I'm in a position of leadership at my work, Joe. I cannot stand when people do this with me. Like, if it is important enough for me to walk my ass over and check something out, tell me what it is up front so I can start working on the problem before I walk 5 minutes to get over there.
I completely agree. You give me at least a sense. Like, I understand if it's too complex and you're going to have to show me details.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, tell me, like, hey, this is the nature of the problem. Please come here so you can see the exact, nature of the issue, like the exact details of the issue. But you know what, Peter, this is fucking television.
I know.
It's Star Trek. You gotta build that suspense.
I hit pause so I could sit there and bitch about that specifically. And as I hit pause, it's right as Janeway dismissed the holodeck, the simulation. And it's just a shot of the empty holodeck. My wife starts getting mad. She's like, "Oh God, not this again!" Because I threw the picture of the holodeck up from Distant Origin, and I spent a lot of time trying to take these pictures, count squares, like just how big is this holodeck exactly. So she thought I was going back, and then I was like, no, but
no, I'm gonna bitch about something else.
Now that you mention it, I see that there's 8 lights, not 6 lights running vertical. The ceiling's higher than I thought. I have to go back to the discussion thread on the Facebook group. This is new information. So she caused a problem there, not me. I wouldn't even thought to start nitpicking, but she gets down to engineering, and you got Torres and Chakotay, and they do not look happy.
So what has happened is they have apparently sent out long-range probes, which, if my memory of my Star Trek technical manuals proves correct, there are long-range probes that have independent warp capability that starships are able to send out. So it is plausible that, as you know, Voyager spends its time sniffing roses as it does, they're like, well, this is our linear path forward, so I'm going to send out my like class 9 warp probe. I'm going to send it out in front, and it's going to kind of like get in front of me a little bit and be able to send me telemetry and information about what's out there before I get there.
Like Whiskers from Sequest.
Yes! Wow. Man, we are deep in the 90s TV references. I fucking loved Sequest. It was Star Trek in the sea, as far as I was concerned. Yeah.
Darwin hurt. In my mind, I always confuse the Sequest dolphin with the junky, ratty cyber dolphin from Johnny Mnemonic.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. They are similar. I get it.
Yeah, they're both super dolphins. One of them just got to work around Michael Ironsides. The sending out an advanced probe is certainly the least of the stretches of imagination that we're expected to do in this episode. Totally legit move here. Although, if we want to talk about the T word, telemetry, we did map the entire known galaxy in
Tommy's shuttle. Yeah, a little bit. Well, anyway, point is, they got information back from the probe, and it's a handy dandy DVR of, you guessed it, it's the Borg, and they quickly have a staff meeting where they do some good continuity, like gut checks, and they're like, okay, so what are we gonna do? Well, the doctor points out we got a Borg corpse. They say 3 months earlier, specifically. So that's how long ago Unity was.
Was that? No, it was pre-Unity, because Unity is where they encountered the Borg. It's the
Unity was
blood fever.
Blood fever is when they saw the decayed corpse on the planet. But I'm pretty sure the reference in Unity was to the one that they recovered from the cube that was more fresh, because we know they beamed that. We know they beamed that one onto their ship.
Fair enough.
So that was
3 months.
3 months is like 12 episodes ago, something like that. So here we go. Problem a week. I'm just saying. I'm reestablishing we're to a pay period around here on Voyager. You got to earn your keep.
Mm-hmm.
They've been trying to figure out something to do with a word that you will learn to fucking hate for the rest of your time watching fucking Voyager. And that is Borg nanoprobes. Peter, holy fucking shit. Do they ever, like, the writers, you think they're lazy now? Let me tell you, the fucking nonsense rabbit holes that they go down using the phrase Borg nanoprobes as their go-to technobabble excuse for whatever dumb shit they come up with.
Let's do this, Joe, because we're going to hear Borg nanoprobe so many times, and because I can see exactly it is going to be the go-to technology that just you rub it on the wound and it makes all the plaque go away. Let's just start calling it, for our purposes, fairy dust.
Borg fairy dust.
Sure, fairy dust.
Yeah. And this is the very first time it's introduced, so it's actually much, like, it seems cool now of like, hey, I just decided to start dissecting these things and trying to figure out if I can like reprogram them like little computer like viruses, which, makes sense with the whole Borg thing. But
didn't they have those in First Contact? Like, I know they had the assimilation tentacles.
They never talked about Borg nanoprobes until now, in the way that they're going to.
In First Contact, it was just you get jabbed in the neck, you are ostensibly drugged, and they drag you off and do something.
Right. Like, you get, it's always been implied that there's basically Borg juice and everyone's Borg veins, and they kind of get you, because it's the whole zombie thing.
It's a Cube-Aid.
Yeah, it's the Cube-Aid. What they unfortunately do here is open a door that subsequent writing staffs just like kick down and break into splinters, and it's awful. He's way overused the concept of Borg nanoprobes.
This meeting starts off in a great way. And it's like, we've known this day was coming.
Yeah.
And now it's here.
We're as ready as we're going to be. Like, we've been doing research. We're going to defend ourselves. We got the fucking phasers on a varied modulation so you can get some good shots in. You know, we've got our fucking eyes up everywhere. We're going to stretch all of our supplies. They're seriously like going through we knew this was going to happen, and we're going to put our best effort forward.
My thing about this, so when they started Voyager, did they know that there was going to be a Borg element? Unknown. Clearly they were going to try and reach for some new exciting stories, Kazon, Vidians, etc. And ultimately here we are going back into the next gen toy box. But we've been gearing up for this for a while. I would have liked to see at some point there be some discussion with some of these races in the Delta Quadrant about, hey, do you guys know what's up with the Borg, where they're at, where their boundaries really start? Like, I have to believe that every fucking person in this area knows goddamn well where Borg space begins, and there's a big do not go past. Or like, maybe even if they would have said, like, people don't go through the Necritic Expanse because somewhere beyond there is Borg space, and that's a good place for us to start calling it safe. You talked before during the sad sacks, like, what if they've got these ships that they're jettisoning prisoner pods off as like decoys to get cubes off their ass? That's the kind of stuff I thought there should have been. Everybody, I mean, the Borg are such a big deal. Everybody everywhere should know where exactly these guys are and where to stay away from.
This is a kind of a failing on the part of the writers in that they kind of gave themselves the opportunity to do that, starting with Blood Fever. That actually kind of sets the stage of like these desperate survivors on the edge of like where the Borg have been, right? That whose entire existence has been bent by the fact that they had this brush with the Borg and some of them survived. And then you had the Unity, where you had the Borg survivors of this random accident and the impact it's had on them. And we talked about how, like, with the sad sacks, like, if these were just like these technological scavengers and this is how they get by, like, when you're living on the edge of Borg space, it's every fucking man for themselves, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, that's part of why they do this, and they don't fight because they can't afford it. Like, they need every scrap of technology, every resource has to be used to fend them off. And, like, going all the way back to mid-season when they went into the Necrid Expanse, like, what if, like, then they teased, like, that it's, like, this barrier that somehow prevents this. There's these stories of this great force that lies beyond the Expanse. And, like, it's this border area, then they, like, they don't cross it. There's, like, some reasons why the Borg can't cross the Necrid Expanse or something like that. And there's all these things that they kind of had that they did a little bit with, or they could have done more with, and it's all there. And instead we've had like 5 episodes in a row where there's been no fucking mention of the Borg or the fact that they've been creeping ever closer to Borg space. And the whole of the galaxy should be melded around the fact that whatever's still surviving as the Borg with their fucking neighbors should be in a desperate situation.
I want to pursue this further because I'm going to go into a conversation we had off air. This is a very dangerous proposition. And one of my big concerns about the rest of this episode is going to be what I feel is a lack of plausible terror on behalf of the crew, that they, if there's one thing that should scare the Federation more than anything else, or one thing that should scare the Federation, period. Maybe not the Romulans and Klingons, peace, diplomacy, all that other stuff, brighter future. We can look the other way, even on terrorists working side by side to us. But the Borg are the one thing you can't negotiate with. And like I told my wife, becoming a drone is basically supposed to be a fate worse than death.
It is, yes. It is explicitly a fate worse than death. It isn't that you die, it's that you remain aware of your actions, unable to control them, and turn into a weapon against everything that you ever valued. And no matter, even if you get unplugged from that, all of that experience stays with you forever. The prospect of becoming a Borg drone should be the worst thing possible to everyone on that ship. I think I would have bought everything much more if at some point Janeway did what she's best at and like talked about how she's going to blow the ship up to avoid that. Like
But
that might have sold it, but instead there's just none of that.
I would have liked to see in the past 3 episodes, past 4 episodes, past 5 episodes, just little parts of conversation of people talking about their anxiety about, eventually we're going to come into Borg space. I'm afraid. I'm brave. I'm doubtful. Maybe I'll stay behind them. Just little stuff like that to start world building what is going to be this big deal. There's none of that. And I feel like this is still at its core a last minute decision on behalf of the writers' room to play the Borg card. And that there was a failure to commit at the beginning of the season, say, all right, this is the way we're going to go. The Borg are going to be here, and let's build a storyline, a story arc. And it said this just kind of pops in out of nowhere, and it feels weak. I like in this briefing also, they start talking about what Borg space is at this point. It is hundreds of systems. It is thousands of planets. It is billions and billions of drones active on these planets. And just that was kind of cool to think about, because all we've seen so far is, the Borg come by, they scoop people up, they assimilate them, and back they go to wherever. But full on Borg colonies, what is that really? And then it got me to thinking, do drones die off of natural causes? Do drones decompose? Or are you basically pickled and a drone forever? Because if drones do decay, and you do have entire planets harvesting resources and all the other shit that the Borg are doing on these planets, and their population, they're not a bunch of vampires that live forever. Now the cube's going out and scavenging and assimilating and bringing people back to replenish their own numbers, since they can't reproduce naturally anymore, becomes something pretty cool to think about.
I think the implication is that they do. I should say, unfortunately, there's more explanation of this later, like in ways that don't improve your feelings about how they handle the Borg. It's sad. Yeah, the idea that they're in the shit here is fine. It's just that, like, here's a quick rundown of all the episodes since the Unity, where they could have done things to prepare the viewer for this by talking about the either the galaxy or the show or Voyager itself's anxiety about what they inevitably are going to encounter, that they know is now inevitable. Darkling, when they're with a bunch of space gypsies who travel around, could have done a lot there, right?
Space truckers, yeah.
Space truckers would have known all about it. Rise, where you had basically 2 civilizations fighting it out for colonization space. Mm-hmm. Could have done something there.
Urinal puck people.
The favorite son with the crazy cougar planet of the sex vampires. Like, they have to reproduce this way and stay super isolated because they're on the edge of Borg space. Mm-hmm. Before and after probably wouldn't have helped too much. That was time travel. Real life didn't have much going on.
Before and after would have been perfect, because Kes could have brought back knowledge like, oh shit, Borg are up this way, and they caused a lot of problems.
Distant origin with the fucking dino people and their fucking transwarp and their city ships. Mm-hmm. All the bullshit that, nothing, not a word. And then sad sacks, we already covered that. So many like things where you could have sprinkled in how the Borg has created these circumstances or melded these circumstances. And there's none of that. But what we get,
anything would have been appreciated. It's a failure to commit. It's a failure to commit on behalf of the show on a cohesive story.
Instead, we get a fine briefing scene, and everyone kind of, breaks the huddle to execute on being good job doers. And that's when they really start to up the ante comically
with the montage.
They have the montage of like them like doing the like this. They're like got this like cart with like a bunch of bins on it. There's like, get out of the way, we got a bin. They're passing out pipes in engineering where they keep all the deadly weapons.
Yes, still at the top of the warp core. We established that in macroism.
Yes.
I cannot think of a worse place to keep the grenades and the rifles than on top of your fucking doomsday engine. But what do I know?
Handing out pipe after pipe. They're kind of like showing, the Voyager's girded for war. They're going to fight the Borg. given you trying to give you that first contact feel, they're like talking about how they can seal off parts of the ship sooner if they get boarded. And after that, they in fact have an encounter with the Borg, because what Voyager's trying to do is head to a portion of Borg space where for some reason there's no Borg activity. And they call it the Northwest Passage, which is that fabled passage that you could travel by sea basically through North America. It was the whole Lewis and Clark thing. And, they want to get to this area of space that just for some reason has no Borg signatures in it whatsoever. Not deciding amongst themselves like that there might be something other than gravitational weirdness that's keeping the Borg completely out of this area. They're like, oh, it's fine. We'll just ride the rapids. It'll be great. And, Tom will get us through it. It'll be fine. He's driven through worse. If he can navigate prison as much as he navigates the space,
if he can fly through space twisters.
That's when Harry reports that, in fact, there are Borg signatures around them that are coming in a transwarp. And it's 1, 2, 5, and then 15 cubes show up out of transwarp. There's so much turbulence from the subspace bubble that it forces Voyager out of warp. So it's basically this giant, like, this ripple through subspace that's like Voyager's just getting bucked through from all of these cubes. 15 cubes. Again, we've only ever seen one. One cube's enough to take the fucking Federation for a ride, right? Mm-hmm. 15 cubes is enough to conquer the whole fucking galaxy as far as the average Star Trek viewer is concerned, right? 15!
I'd say 4 would realistically be enough. I'm split on this thing because it's stupid for all the reasons I already harped on, having 2 on the screen at the same time. The effect of 15 cubes blowing by Voyager like that was, I will admit, kind of cool to watch, even though it's bad 97 CG, but
they did their damnedest. I'll give them that.
Yeah, and I will tell you, the memory alpha, that the production staff was very proud of this scene. One of the last cubes to fly by stops for a minute. They blast them with aliens style green vertical scanner that goes over everybody on the bridge, and then the last cube speeds off. We are falling down very squarely, and we've talked about Dragon Ball Z and how you can paint yourself into a corner. Like, how do you really demonstrate someone's power after you have Frieza flick his wrist and cut Namek in half with one gentle swipe? And the only way to do it is to just move into absurdity. You've blown up 2 cubes, no big deal. Now we really need to set the table higher. Here's 15 of these fucking mega ships. Well, I wonder what's going to happen.
So, the Borg cubes speed off to wherever they're going to speed off. Voyager's like, the fuck was that? What the fuck is going on? Janeway and Chakotay have their first of their 2 kind of important scenes in the episode, as Janeway goes through all the logs of all the captains that ever encountered the Borg, including, obviously name-checking the Enterprise and Jean-Luc Picard specifically as part of that. And Chakotay, this is the party episode that I really liked, was Chakotay. Without a tinge of irony, Chakotay gets my gold fucking star for this episode. He's the audience surrogate. I don't know if that was on purpose, but he is the common sense Trek fan surrogate throughout this entire episode. And in this one, he's like, listen, we got to think, what are our options here? And Janeway realistically summarizes it. We've got 3. We can try and force our way through Borg space. We can try in the Northwest Passage, or we can go the other fucking direction and find some other part of the Delta Quadrant to call home and just not try and do this. And Chakotay is obviously pushing a little bit for, hey, just because we might not decide to do it this way doesn't mean we'll find another way home. We've run into a bunch of weird shit around here. Never say never. But at the same time saying, listen, you're not in this by yourself. We'll do this together. You know, I'm not just your first officer. I'm your dude. I want to get in your pants. I might have been there sometime
Casey
in
has
between
me
when the
stop.
monkey was there. You know,
Casey has me pause, and she says, "Are these guys dating?" And I'm like, "Man, that's two
such a
episodes of pod. Like officially no, but probably yes. Like,
they
welcome to this goddamn show."
they definitely banged on that planet. Come on, he built her a tub, got her towels.
The monkey
You
was too
know,
distracting, man. She wasn't having it. Was this before or after Kessa's vision? I can't remember.
it was before this because the vision happened, I think, after the meeting that they had, but before this scene.
So Kess has a vision, and it is a pile of dead Borg ripped apart and put in this Game of Thrones White Walker funeral pile. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. But she's relayed this on to the captain. The captain says something along the line, and it's important to this conversation. You know, we can't just ignore Kess's premonitions because every time they happen, I mean, she's got a pretty amazing track record at this point. Like, she doesn't really thrown any duds out. So we can't ignore Kess's premonitions, but we have no real reason to stop. Maybe the death and dismemberment and Voyager completely destroyed are great reasons to stop. And that's exactly what Chakotay starts tapping onto. And it's, like you said, his surrogate. He is a surrogate to the audience. Because right here at this point, it's like, listen, man, what do you think is really going to happen here? We've gone on at length now about how big of a deal one Borg cube is. You can have your phasers on a modulation, and you can be moving boxes around the hallways very busily. And ultimately, it's not going to matter. The Enterprise can't go toe-to-toe with a Borg cube. The entire Starfleet Armada cannot go toe-to-toe with a cube. So your expectation that you have a shot in hell against one cube is ridiculous. You just saw 15 of these fucking things fly by. You have a 0.0 chance of success in any sort of altercation with the Borg in this part of space. This is a no-win. And Chakotay is completely right in this. And when Chakotay starts saying all this, I'm like, yes, the only thing that this scene is missing is Tuvok also being in there laying down some real talk. I think that would have been prime time for him to be like, listen, we've done some crazy stuff and we've gotten lucky. 15 cubes. This is unprecedented. This is a no-win.
And it's like, that's just a taste, right? Like, this is Borg space with Borg colonies. And God knows how many of those things out there. Let's say we get lucky. We encounter the Borg. We come up with some fucking 1 in a million plan and manage to basically kick sand in its eye and get away scot-free, right? Let's say we roll the hard 6 and we get there. How many more times are we going to have to do that to traverse what is probably thousands of light years? Like, it's just not going to happen. Like, this Northwest Passage, how long are we going to have to fucking stay in this thing? How many years are they expect? Like, this is Borg space. This is where they rule. The fuck is out here that could even give us any hope of surviving it from a matter of weeks and months on the outside? You'd have to do it for years.
Chakotay also says something important. It's that retreat from here isn't us abandoning the cause. It's us looking at alternate possibilities. You've encountered the Skevians. You saw that the Skevians had the technology to throw Voyager huge distances with their weird planet transporters. The technology's out in the Delta Quadrant that is beyond Starfleet and the Federation's.
They encountered the fucking dino people who have transwarp.
Yeah.
Like, they just did that a few weeks ago.
You've had 3 seasons of fantastic technology and crazy shit. Chakotay's just hitting the nail on the head over and over again, and Janeway just ain't having it. She believes that there's going to be some shred of hope and that they're not looking at this insurmountable odds that everybody else clearly sees. And they wrap on a note that says basically, you know, Chakotay's still hopeful. He says, you know what? We're going to go through this together. I believe in you. The crew believes in you, and we can do this. And, you know, we'll see what happens together.
They end up getting notice that, you know, shocker of shockers. I hold on to your ass, buddy, because Borg cubes all seem to have gone dark. All 15 of those Borg cubes that passed him by, all of a sudden, their energy signatures gave out. Janeway, seeing the door open and the endless array of traps in front of her, obviously cannot help herself and immediately has Voyager go directly to where all of the fucking Borg cubes are in hopes of figuring out what's going on.
I put in my notes.
Fucking dumbass decision number 2.
Yeah. And I had in my notes because it was in the forefront of my thoughts. Anytime she gives the order to ready the weapons, fuck the weapons. Ready the self-destruct button.
Yeah.
You're dealing with a fate worse than death. This is the nightmare of everybody on this ship. You've shown no hesitation to blow the ship up before. You're not going to win any of these fights. And if you think that this is worth going in there and dicking around for, I think it's the least you can do for your crew to just fucking kill everybody before they get perhaps the only thing worse than organ harvested in the Delta Quadrant, and that's assimilated. So she flies into this big, ridiculous graveyard now of half blown up cubes. And they start scanning, wondering, oh, gee, what could possibly have happened there? And the only trace they find in this entire, basically, Wolf 359 Part 2, the tables have turned, is one tiny little bioorganic ship that looks like a fish, maybe. It looks like the little submarine from Phantom Menace that Qui-Gon and Jar Jar have.
Okay, so let's take a second on this. There's 15 Borg cubes. They decide Voyager's not worth the time and they go off to do something else. Voyager's like, holy shit. How lucky are we? We just dodged infinity bullets. We would have been the most dead Starfleet crew ever. All 15 of these cubes get somehow blown up. They're like, let's go fucking see what that's about.
Typical right? white people move.
So, yeah,
that is totally white people. There is a fire. There is a monster. There is something terrible happening. Everybody's running, and a couple white people are like, I need to go look and see what's going on.
I need to see what that is. I'm very interested. Mm-hmm. So these fucking tourists decide, well, what's the worst that could happen? We could run into a bunch of Borg cubes, or we can run into something powerful enough to destroy 15 Death Stars. Let's go check it out. And they get there, and they see all 15 Borg cubes. Each of them a match for the Federation's best ships in total, right? All gone with a single ship that they have found that appears to be the responsible party. Okay? One has blown up 15 cubes. They find it. They're like, hey, let's go beam over there and like fuck with them. These guys just blew up 15 cubes. Let's go mess with that. I mean, okay, if I'm the captain of Voyager and I'm in the situation for some reason, I like show up and I am in a graveyard of 15 cubes and there's clearly one thing here that doesn't belong and is the only other thing that could possibly have been responsible for destroying these things. You know what I do? I'm fucking showing my belly. I am not going anywhere fucking near that thing. I'm going to broadcast on every frequency. Hey, whoever you are, I want to be best friends. I will give you whatever you want. You are God, right? Like you just, holy shit. Oh my God, whoever you are. I'm on my hands and knees. Whatever you want. I will never just go the fuck away from whatever you're like. Do whatever you're going to do. Guys, whatever keep it up. Good job. Good job. This is incredible just on the face of it. Before they even have any other knowledge, right? Before they have even a scrap of other knowledge, they know 15 Borg cubes just got fucking smoked by whoever the fuck these guys are. It's like, holy shit. This is the greatest boon to the galaxy ever. I am totally not going to beam over there and piss them off.
I wouldn't even gotten to that point. I wouldn't have even made it out to the graveyard because I think once she gave the order to pursue and check out what was going on, where 15 cubes are, on the scale of when is it time to mutiny, this is a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Especially in light of the workforce mutiny simulator and a very passionate and logical explanation by Halo Chakotay about what was the exact quote about, vaunted Federation ideals and dangerous side missions? Fuck that. We are beyond any shred of common sense at this point. Janeway needs to go. End of story.